welcome to This Week in Property. I'm Jayashree Kurup, I'm editor MBTV, and today we're talking about our RWAs, the new developer. They stand in when the project is not complete. They take on the authorities, the city authorities, when the services are stopped. They also manage maintenance, collections, various other facilities. Has the RWA become the new developer, the stand-in for a developer? I have with me Prabhakar Sinha. He's the real estate editor of the Times of India. I'm Jayashree Kurup. I'm editor Magic Bricks. And I have Ram Gupta, who's the president of the South City 1 Residents Welfare Association in Gurgaon, which recently took the GMDA to court and has got an order, favorable order. We've got Sanjay Jha. He's the convener of the Fed AOA. And thank you so much for joining us. And Prabhakar, let's set the context.
Actually, now RWA was a legal entity earlier also, under the earlier act also, but RERA has also given it a lot of power. In fact, under the new law of RERA, if a developer could sell 50% of his project, he's supposed to create an RWA, and as soon as the project is completed, the RWA, he is supposed to transfer that entire management of that property to RWA. And in the light of stalled projects also, now particularly RERA is asking RWA to come forward. Not at that time, it is not the Resident Welfare Association, but it is that Buyer Association, which is supposed to be kind of a RWA. And RERA takes their help so that they could identify new contractor or new body to complete the project. And in that also, RWA, there's association plays a very important role. In fact, UP RERA chief told me once that if suppose the buyer association come forward, then we take their opinion, the most important opinion, and whatever they wish first, we do want to implement the project according to their wishes. Now, if they are not sufficient enough, then only we look around and we say that, okay, let us find out something else also. So RWA has become very, very important entity, and particularly in the light of the legal provisions that today, now suppose a member of the RWA doesn't pay his bill properly, then they can take action against them, and that action is legal.
Is there a legal provision where an RWA can take action if some resident does not pay?
Yeah, there is a legal provision for that, and registrars support that. In fact, they can, I mean, instead of evacuation, that okay, they can't ask them to evacuate, but say the water supply or other supply, and water supply they can't stop, but the other kind of a provision they can create so that he should pay it regularly.
Right. Let's go to Sanjay Jha. Yes. Sanjay, you come from an area where there are semi-complete, incomplete, completed projects, all of which the RWAs have stepped in when there are problems. Help us understand the range of problems.
Basically, there are three kinds of problems. What I observe being in a FedAO and have discussed with many of the RWAs and president and secretary. So, problem is that first, the builder or promoter handed over to the premises or apartment to the association, but the thing is not being taken over properly. Suppose at the time of handover, number of things have been assured, at the time of MOT has been signed, but the things within a due time, builder signed the MOT and get the things completed or semi-completed. That's the problem. Second is where there are 5 towers in a society, in an association. 3 has been completed, 2 is not completed. Builder is not maintaining properly. There is an issue of who will take care of that. As the RW is there, registered RW is there, they have to take action to evacuate, to get them noticed and take the authority in loop and keep the maintenance in their hand. But the thing is that who will do this? Third one is project started, but there is nothing has been done. None of a single flat given to the handover. So there is no association as of now. So in that case, will we come under RERA? So as Prabhakar said, there is a provision of buyer association that will be in a capacity too. Second one, sir, has said that under the Apartment Act, there is a provision if some resident is not paying him some handed over by the and taken care by the RWA, there is a provision of under Model Bylaws Apartment Act. So if there is a 90 days, more than 90 days dues, so firstly he will be barred from the voting rights of the association. Suppose the voting rights is barred, so basically, and after that basic amenities that will be under the due notice with the authority taking loop in the authority. So authority, in consultation of authority, they can also stop the electricity and because prepaid meter system there, electricity and water services.
Let's go to Ram Gupta now. Association that is over 25 years old?
Yeah, 25.
25 years old. And one would have thought that this is time enough for an association to say that I'm living in an established colony. Unfortunately, and across Gurgaon, the municipal corporation came up only 6 to 7 years ago, and the GMDA, the Development Authority, was created only 1 year ago, October 2018. When the GMDA was created, that was because a lot of the services, the money was collected by the Haryana Urban Development Authority. The money collected in Gurgaon was spread out across the state, and the city itself was growing. It was a financial hub, but it didn't have the facilities. So a separate development authority was created. Ram, help us understand what were the problems that you faced.
बताना चाहूंगा एक्चुअली जैसे मैम
हाँ.
अभी कुछ दिन पहले ही हमारे मतलब साउथ सिटी 1 के अंदर ऑल ऑफ ए सडन जीएमडे गुड़गांव मेट्रोपॉलिटन डेवलपमेंट अथॉरिटी ने एक डिसीजन लिया कि हम पानी की सप्लाई डिस्कनेक्ट कर रहे हैं.
कोई नोटिस दिया था?
नो नोटिस और देयर इज नो
सारी सोसाइटी
का
क्यों?
क्योंकि यूनिटेक ने ड्यूज नहीं पे किए थे.
उनका बड़ा अच्छा आंसर था कि आज की डेट में यूनिटेक ने लगभग 1 करोड़ 27 लाख रुपए जीएमडी को पे करना है. यूनिटेक हमारे बिल्डर हैं और वो उन्होंने पे नहीं किए हैं. इसकी वजह से हम यूनिटेक का कनेक्शन काट रहे हैं. हमारा आरडब्ल्यू से कोई लेना देना नहीं है, हमारा रेजिडेंट से कोई लेना नहीं है. दे आर सेइंग कि हम तो यूनिटेक के जो ड्यूज है वो पे ना होने की वजह से आज की डेट में हम कनेक्शन डिस्कनेक्ट कर रहे हैं. 4 तारीख को ये कनेक्शन डिस्कनेक्ट हुआ. 6 दिन के बाद में ये रिस्टोर आया. बाय द ऑल एफर्ट्स पुट, हमने डीसी से बात की, हमने जो वहां के
आपका प्रोजेक्ट कब कंप्लीट हो गया था?
हमारा ये प्रोजेक्ट एक्चुअली अभी तक वैसे देखा जाए तो कंप्लीट नहीं है एज पर द फिजिकल कंडीशन के हिसाब से देखा जाए, क्योंकि जितने भी उन्होंने जो भी एक्चुअली वहां पर वो नहीं है. एक्चुअली बिल्डर उन्होंने हमारे को खाली लैंड दिया हुआ है जिस पर हमने बनाना है और उसके अंदर जो फैसिलिटीज बेसिक एमिनिटीज हैं कि रोड बना करके देना है उन्होंने
सीवेज कनेक्शन टू द ट्रंक लाइन,
सीवेज का प्रॉपर बनाना अभी तक तैयार नहीं है. और अभी एक बड़ा अच्छा सा है मतलब कि उन्होंने आज की डेट में रेजिडेंट से सर्विस के नाम से काफी पैसा लिया जो आगे जाकर के उन्होंने गवर्नमेंट के ड्यूज पे नहीं किए. इवन आज की डेट में अगर हम देखा जाए तो वहां पर जीएमडीए के पास में या हुड्डा के पास में वाटर बिल उनके इतने ज्यादा पेंडिंग है जो पिछले 10 साल से अभी तक ड्यू है उनके. इवन इलेक्ट्रिसिटी का बिल भी पेंडिंग है जिससे कि वाटर सप्लाई रेजिडेंट को मिलती है जो 1 करोड़ के आसपास है. तो ऐसी सिचुएशन सेकंड एक बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट कि जो डेफिशिएंसीज हैं उनके प्रोजेक्ट के अंदर अगर उन्होंने जो चीजें उन्होंने फुलफिल करनी है, जो डेफिशिएंसीज है उसमें कुछ अभी गवर्नमेंट की है पूरी, अगर वो पूरी नहीं करते हैं तो इसमें रेजिडेंट क्या करें? दिस इज द बिगेस्ट क्वेश्चन बिफोर द रेजिडेंट.
और अभी ये हुआ है कि रेजिडेंट्स मिल चुके हैं, but the Residents Welfare Association, and this is something that we want to raise, can a Residents Welfare Association stand in for the developer? By law, the developer has certain rights of collection, provision of facilities and so on. अगर developer ने वो default किया, क्या Residents Welfare Association उसको उठा के पे कर सकता है? Is the Residents Welfare Association an empowered body to take over services and facilities that it is currently doing? I will quickly ask you, before you answer this, I'm going to pick up a query that one of our consumers has started asking. This is Vijay Mehta of Gurugram who says, can RERA hand over the project to RWA and get it completed? Which RERA provisions cover this? ये आप आंसर करेंगे संजय जी. और ये भी है कि संजय जी बता रहे हैं कि actually before the project is registered and occupied, you are an association of buyers, not a residents welfare association, right? Please go ahead.
Simply RERA, if project is handed over, then there is an association definitely within a span of time. Means RERA association can be formed. Association will certainly take over the maintenance and empowered with all the things to manage the society.
मगर अगर आपका project complete
But
नहीं है,
in case project is not completed and as buyers association formed within 3 months or 6 months span of time, the buying association can approach to RWA authorities, and the RWA conciliation committee is everywhere there. I am also a part of conciliation committee, member of conciliation committee. We have seen number of nowadays the cases coming for the individual buyer, but certainly when the project in between or project is going to complete, so buyers association will definitely come to take over the project where the builders are already taken the all the monies and but the project not handed over, or builder might be approaching to NCLT and all. So in that case, association has to take over the charge and go to the forum, RERA forum and other authorities, respective authorities, to take over the project. So we will complete the, because most of the money already went to the. And definitely under RERA there is a escrow account, so that must be audited and all. So all the things come.
अभी RERA, if for any new projects launched after 2017 May, right? There is it is covered by RERA. The escrow accounting facility systems are in place. But जो भी projects उससे पहले थे, उसमें developer ने पैसे तो लिए हैं. That time it was the developer was allowed to take from one project to the other. There was no law banning him from doing that. Therefore, the point is that the money has been paid according to a builder-buyer agreement, a contract. But the money was supposed to be for various stages of construction. Now, that money in many cases is not available today, and also the developer needs extra money, a seed fund to finish the projects that have been held up. And today, the most interested party, the one person who wants that project complete, is the buyer who's put his life savings, right, Prabhakar?
No, it's basically just like that. That now suppose there is a stalled project and many buyers are there. So then, and the buyers approaches that we want this project to be completed. Then RERA basically consults them. They ask them that, okay, now you choose your committee. Now some member of that committee becomes the member of the escrow account. Now they say that, okay, now you convince your member that whatever dues is there towards you, you people will pay.
Yeah.
Let's find out that how much money is required to complete the project. Then they, with the consultation of RWA only, they appoint a consultant or a contractor, ask them that how much money will be required to complete the project. Then they find out that whether that money is there with them or not. Then that money, if there is a money, then that money flows into that escrow account. And with the consultation of RWA members only, they appoint one engineer also in the conciliation committee. That engineers always look into the fact that all the money is deployed for the construction of the project only, and all the checks are signed only after the RERA, this RWA members vet that the money is going into that for the construction purpose only, and then only the contractors complete the project in this entire process. Now, what RERA says that if I can't take over that project completely and give it to any contractor to complete it, unless RWA gives a nod that, okay, let us do in this way to complete the project. The problem arises only when that there is a dues of some other agency also. If that happens, in that situation, you will have to consult that person also, that whose dues is there. That
This is normally the lenders, right?
Normally the lenders.
But normally it is the first
banks.
opportunity given to the buyers association
To complete the
to
project.
complete
complete
to
the
take over the and complete the project.
Actually, there is a between the coming of RERA and settling of the market, there is a very large volume of projects, especially in the Delhi NCR region, which are not complete. That doesn't mean that it's not there in other places. Mumbai, Hyderabad, Bangalore also have their share of incomplete projects for various reasons. But the point is that to get this entire process through, the query that has been asked is which provision of RERA allows the RERA authority to get the.
Simply that if developer is not able to meet its promises made towards the buyers, then RERA, there is a provision that RERA can ask that developer to walk off or to sit aside. That doesn't mean that he goes scot-free.
Yeah.
RERA will start investigation against him also at the same time.
But while just to get the project completed, even while the investigation is on, there is a provision in RERA. I'm afraid I don't remember. I think it's 8, but I wouldn't swear by that. But there is a provision in RERA which allows the RERA authority to take over the project, give it to the consumers' bodies to complete.
Provision is there in the act.
The provision is there in the act.
Yeah.
And therefore you can then RERA will help you audit the project, figure out how much money is required, bring the required professionals, and help the consumers complete. It's not that the RWA can then siphon out funds. The RWA is also monitored.
Supervised by the RERA.
It is supervised by the RERA. So yes, there is a provision in the law itself. Arun Sharma of Noida says, is it possible for an RWA to take over the stalled project and take it to completion? What kind of formalities are required? Sanjay, would you like to take that?
Yes, as per the RERA provision, as we discussed, we can approach a bar association or RWA.
Do you need any particular number of buyers to be part of the association before you approach
No,
RERA?
there is no numbers, but always there is, for association registration, 1/3, 33% as per the UP Apartment Act. Somewhere it's not in RERA, then we can refer to the UP Apartment Act, basically the backbone of the Apartment Act in Uttar Pradesh. So 33% of the buyer or whatever, if half of the tower, 2 or 3 towers has been, then they can approach to the RERA because it's undergoing project, under construction project. So form association because the buyer association will be there as per provision. Then they can approach to the authority and take over the handover. Because as we already discussed that the RERA giving the first opportunity to the buyer association only.
To complete
To complete the project. We have a poll running currently. Can I see the poll, please? Yes. Can the buyer bodies complete and maintain projects? It's a yes or no answer. Please take the poll. Or everybody who's logged in. At the end of the show, we'll tell you what the results are. Ram Gupta, we would like to understand from you that you took the GMDA to court as the South City Residents Welfare Association took the GMDA to court. What was the issue and how did it? What was the verdict? Did you get an order?
मैम अभी जो डिसीजन है पूरा आया नहीं है, बट मेरी लायर से भी बात हुई है, वो कहते हैं कि शायद स्टे इज ग्रांटेड कि जो जीएमडी ने अभी हमारे को डिस्कनेक्ट किया वाटर सप्लाई, तो उसमें अगेन उनकी तरफ से ये थ्रेट था कि फॉर आफ्टर 6 days 7 days वी विल अगेन डिस्कनेक्ट इट, आइदर यू हैव टू पे द होल मनी वंस ईयर 27 लाख जो भी उनकी
ये
डिमांड।
कितना पुराना पैसा है
सर ये अक्टूबर 2018 से लेकर के अक्टूबर 2019 1 साल का।
1 साल का पैसा है।
वाटर का पैसा नहीं, जो वो यूनिटेक का जो बोल रहे हैं कि डिवॉल्व किया जाए, यूनिटेक का जो पैसा बाकी वो कब का पैसा है?
यूनिटेक ने अभी तक सिर्फ कुछ लाख ही दिए।
पैसा होगा
वो आज तक क्यों नहीं उससे वसूले जो अब वसूलने जा रहे हैं बाहर से, जब उसने
जीएमडीए था नहीं। गुड़गांव म्युनिसिपल डेवलपमेंट अथॉरिटी 2018 अक्टूबर में ही बना था, तो अभी उन्होंने देखा कि हम
डीसी तो उसने पे किया होगा,
बिल्कुल होना चाहिए। वेल कंज्यूमर्स ने तो पे किया है,
वेदर
डेवलपर ने आगे दिया है।
Developer collected on behalf of resident, more or less like that. And
It's a criminal offense otherwise.
Yes,
yes.
I agree, but this is a criminal offense, लेकिन वो तो सारा प्रोसेस एक तरफ है, बट आज की डेट में जिन लोगों को पानी नहीं मिल रहा है वो क्या रास्ता फॉलो करें, वो किस वे में जाना चाहिए, उनको क्या करना चाहिए?
But water and electricity services cannot be barred.
disconnected.
Cannot be barred or
There
disconnected.
is a Supreme
There
Court
is Supreme Court
order. Can you refer to that? What did that order say?
Basically, I'm not sure what exactly, but basically widely said.
आर्टिकल 21 है एक्चुअली,
You cannot disconnect the water
Essential
essential services for any flats. Somewhere it was one of the promoter has disconnected a consumer residing in flat due to some internal conflicts. So it comes over to the court and it was this.
बट मैं बताना चाहूंगा सर, बड़ा सिंपल सा रीजन है। अगर हम जीएमडीए के पास में जाते हैं, वो बड़े आसानी से कहते हैं जी हमने आपका तो डिस्कनेक्ट किया ही नहीं, हमने तो यूनिटेक का डिस्कनेक्ट किया है जिसने कि हमको पैसा नहीं दिया।
Ultimate consumer who is this?
मगर
Unity is not there to drinking the water.
ये
GMDA
but they are not understand this problem.
Unity is not there to drink the water. He is behind the bar, so he has to understand that.
But the point is that despite all this, the Gurgaon Municipal Corporation is not taking over supply of water to these developer
मेरा
colonies.
मैम कल ही बात हुआ है एक्चुअली
हाँ जी।
गुड़गांव म्युनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशन के जो चीफ इंजीनियर हैं उनसे
हाँ जी।
और बड़े उन्होंने सही तरीके से मेरे को समझाया, कहते हैं कि ऑलरेडी हमने जो फंड्स लगा दिए हैं कि डेफिशिएंसी के अगेंस्ट में, टेंटेटिवली दैट अमाउंट इज 30 करोड़ रुपीस, हम वही रिकवर नहीं कर पा रहे हैं
उस
इनसे।
30 करोड़ में उन्होंने क्या क्या सर्विसेज प्रोवाइड किए थे?
उसमें बेसिकली उन्होंने अभी रोड का मेंटेनेंस किया था, जो भी डेफिशिएंसी रोड में वो
जो कि यूनिटी को करना था।
जो यूनिटेक
यूनिटेक को करना था। अब रिसेंटली अबाउट अ ईयर अगो
ये 4 मार्च 2019 को ही उन्होंने
तो वहाँ पर कोई एसेट नहीं है यूनिटेक का जिसका
ये बिक चुका है, ये
GMDA ना।
20 साल पुराना।
यूनिटेक कहता है जी मेरे पास तो अपने एम्प्लॉइज के लिए देने के लिए
हाँ,
पैसा
वही
नहीं है।
मैं बोल रहा था, तो 20 साल पुराना प्रोजेक्ट है बेसिकली।
राइट,
ज्यादा
और
उससे
अब
भी
ये
ज्यादा।
सारा प्रॉब्लम शुरू हुआ।
330 एकड़ का प्रोजेक्ट है।
84 में शुरू हुआ था, ये 20 साल के वाले को 30 साल से भी ज्यादा
Now
हो
what is
तीस
the
साल।
stand of GMDA in water?
जीएमडी का कहना है जी हमारे को पैसा मिलेगा हम तभी पानी सप्लाई देंगे, अगर पैसा नहीं मिलेगा तो हम पानी सप्लाई नहीं दे सकते। दिस इज आवर
तो जीएमडीए पानी सप्लाई करता है यूनिटेक को, यूनिटेक उस पानी को सिटी शहर में डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करता है। यूनिटेक हैज नॉट बीन पेइंग, कुछ पैसे यूनिटेक कलेक्ट कर रहा है, कुछ कंज्यूमर्स ने पे करना बंद कर दिया क्योंकि यूनिटेक हैज स्टॉप्ड अ लॉट ऑफ सर्विसेज। अब जीएमडीए ये कहता है कि ये पैसा जब तक मेरे पास नहीं आता है मैं नहीं दूंगा। एंड the bigger problem is that the municipal authorities are saying they don't want to take any more liabilities. So the consumers are caught in this conflict and the Residents Welfare
तो जो
Association,
आपका जो एसोसिएशन है, जो आपका जो प्रोजेक्ट है, वो क्यों नहीं आप यूनिटेक से बाहर निकल जाते और बोलते कि ठीक है हम आपको डायरेक्ट पे करेंगे, आप हमको
Definitely. What I have in mind.
there is no provision legally for the RWA to take over because the water is supplied to Unitech. So the case that is
जब
filed,
यूनिटेक हैज फेल्ड तो बोले कि यूनिटेक को आप खत्म
There
करिए।
is a point in that if builder is not there, promoter is not there, so whatever they dues, it's fine. But now RWA can approach and with the resident authority. So now we will directly start paying to you. So at least they
और
will
अलग-अलग
ensure
project
that
में
the payment will be
आई
coming.
एग्री विद यू सर, लेकिन अभी जो उनके पुराने ड्यूज हैं इलेक्ट्रिसिटी के, वाटर के और भी जो ड्यूज है, इवन जीएसटी भी पता लगा है कि उन्होंने नहीं पे किया अभी तक, तो उस सबको जो पुराने ड्यूज है उसको जब गवर्नमेंट पे करने के लिए तैयार नहीं है, एमसीजी लेने के लिए
For
तैयार नहीं
GST
है,
they will be again defaulter
हाँ,
and then
हाँ,
income
वो
tax.
जब एमसीजी उसको लेने को तैयार नहीं है तो उस केस में आरडब्ल्यूए कैसे लेगी और कैसे पे करेगी, क्या तरीका है? जो पुराने ड्यूज का है हम तो इतना कर सकते हैं कि करंट ड्यूज हम कलेक्ट करके उनको पे कर सकते
यूनिटेक
हैं।
को बोलिए 30 यूनिटेक को आप डिसमेंटल करिए और ये प्रोजेक्ट आज से हम डायरेक्ट हम लोग टेक ओवर
एग्री, वो कहते हैं कि हम आपको दे देंगे, लेकिन पुराने ड्यूज का क्या करना है? वो कहते हैं पहले पुराने
Firstly,
ड्यूज
जब
the
तक वो
services-
एक जीरो पीरियड नहीं डिक्लेयर करते कि जीएमडीए अभी
उनका कहना है कि हम कनेक्शन को रिस्टोर जब तक नहीं करेंगे जब तक कि हमारे पुराने ड्यूज
पुराने तो आप यूनिटेक से वसूलिए पैसा।
वो कहते हैं कि यूनिटेक नहीं दे पा रहा है हमारे को,
तो हम क्या करें उसके
नहीं नहीं, उनका बड़ा सिंपल सा है, कहते हैं ड्यूज यूनिटेक के हैं, कनेक्शन यूनिटेक के नाम से है, हम यूनिटेक के ही कनेक्शन काट रहे
Certainly,
हैं।
in that case, you will get some relief from court, but you
Agree.
can also approve
Agree.
that now you have to decide a zero period and start.
जीरो
from
पीरियड
scratch.
में कांट बी डिक्लेयर सर।
कैसे डिक्लेयर होगा सर बताइए?
जीरो डिक्लेयर नहीं
Dues,
होगा।
dues will be there in Unitech.
उनके
यूनिटेक वो बोले कि
Unitech.
यूनिटेक से आप वसूलिए,
Zero period
उसके लिए हम
will be
लायबल
there.
नहीं है।
And from this
हम लोग-
start point, RWA has to
तो
take.
राम
over.
आप अभी ऐसा आरडब्ल्यूए क्या कर रहे हैं?
हम लोगों ने अभी आज की डेट में लोगों से कहा है कि भाई जो अगर आगे आकर के कुछ अगर, क्योंकि हम यूनिटेक के ड्यूज तो पे नहीं कर सकते, बट नो डाउट सारे रेजिडेंट ये चाहते हैं कि गवर्नमेंट को ड्यूज दिए जाने चाहिए, क्योंकि जो गवर्नमेंट के ड्यूज है वो यूनिटेक ने अगर नहीं दिए तो रेजिडेंट को भी परेशानी हो रही है उसके अंदर। तो हम लोग कोशिश कर रहे हैं कुछ फंड्स इकट्ठा करके हम जाएं और कुछ उनको दे पाए।
So may I know total number of houses in that?
सर टोटल नंबर ऑफ हाउसेस 2209 है हमारे यहाँ। ये प्लॉटेड कॉलोनी है, ये वैसे नहीं है, gated colony
And
है।
registered number of units is
So even
2,209.
even 5,000 they will give, so it will be good amount to pay.
सर वो क्वेश्चन
But-
ये है कि ऑलरेडी
but-
वो
but
कितना
question is that will
इसमें
be
सुप्रीम कोर्ट का जो
cater
अभी
previous or current?
आम्रपाली में जजमेंट आया
हाँ
तो
जी।
उसमें सुप्रीम कोर्ट बोलता है कि अथॉरिटी को बोला कि बायर्स ने आम्रपाली को जमीन के एवज में पैसा दिया, लेकिन आम्रपाली ने ये पैसा आपको नहीं जमा किया, इसलिए बायर्स को आप डिफॉल्टर नहीं मान
नहीं मान
सकते हैं
सकते,
कि उसने पैसा आपको नहीं दिया। ये आम्रपाली का डिफॉल्ट है, तो आम्रपाली से आप पैसा लीजिए, बायर को आप इसीलिए सीसी दे दीजिए, और उन्होंने बायर को सीसी दिया। तो अगर मान लीजिए
तो वो इन्वोक करके
करके-
the South City Residents Welfare Association can go to the
Yeah,
judge
कि
who has
हमने तो पैसा
granted
दिया।
you the stay and say
एक जैसे जी मैं थोड़ा सा बताना चाहूँ, कुछ बिल्डर्स इवन ये यूनिटेक भी ऑलरेडी पिछले 10 साल से कोई सर्विस नहीं दे रहे हैं आज की डेट में। पानी का जो पैसा हमसे ले रहे हैं वो भी आज की डेट में उनको जमा नहीं कर रहे हैं, रोड की कोई सर्विस नहीं है, सिक्योरिटी की कोई जो हमारे एग्रीमेंट के अकॉर्डिंग कमिटेड है, और वो अगर फेक बिल जनरेट कर रहे हैं, उनके पास तो यही कि उन्होंने अपना एक खाता खोल रखा है, हर रेजिडेंट के नाम से फेक बिल चढ़ाते जा रहे हैं और वो ड्यूज बता देते हैं कि हमने तो 15 करोड़ रेजिडेंट से लेना है। ऐसे केस में क्या हो सकता है, क्या क्या हेल्प हो सकती है?
Unless audit will not be conducted.
आपको GMDA या म्युनिसिपल अथॉरिटी से उसका ऑडिट करवाना पड़ेगा कि कहाँ कितने लोगों ने पे किया, कितने लोगों ने नहीं पे किया, और फोरेंसिक ऑडिट जो फोरेंसिक ऑडिट रेरास कर रही हैं वही आपको करवाना पड़ेगा। प्रभाकर, here the problem is that
Immediate relief for water.
so for water they have got a stay from the court
But
saying
at the
that
same
you will
time-
not
at
be.
the same time he is saying we will not give you water 5-6 days after.
6 days water supply was not used.
वहीं पे कोर्ट ने कहा है कि आप पानी नहीं कट कर
आपका
सकते, है ना?
RWA रजिस्टर्ड है?
यस, रजिस्टर्ड है,
रजिस्टर्ड
पानी
सोसाइटी।
रजिस्टर्ड सोसाइटी में, और काफी पहले से है, अभी
आपको
नहीं
फिर तो
है।
बहुत पावर है सर। जो वो मान लीजिए कि आप जो उन्होंने सर्विसेज बोला और नहीं दिया, तो आप आराम से उसको चैलेंज कर सकते हैं कोर्ट में कि इट्स ब्रीच ऑफ ट्रस्ट।
नहीं
और
सर,
आप
कोर्ट में चैलेंज भी करेंगे हम, ये सारे एक्शन तो हमारे होंगे ही। लेकिन
parallelly
अभी
they
आज की
will
तो
डेट
वो
में
उसका पैसा नहीं मांग सकते अगर उन्होंने सर्विसेज नहीं दिया है तो एज ए
क्या
सोसाइटी।
जीएमडी का ये तरीका ठीक है कि उन्होंने जो वाटर सप्लाई डिस्कनेक्ट किया? माय क्वेश्चन इज
नहीं,
इज नॉट राइट।
You can't cut essential services, especially without a notice, right?
Even knowing that
Without
the
notice
residents
also,
are
with
paying.
notice also.
With notice also.
इट्स अ राइट टू लाइफ।
Okay.
और एक
It's
चीज और है
fundamental
सर।
rights. I mean, all these things comes under fundamental rights. They can't cut it.
प्रभाकर जी, मैं ये जानना चाहूंगा, आज की डेट में जो इनिटेक के रेजिडेंट या जो साउथ सिटी 1 के रेजिडेंट फेस कर रहे हैं इस प्रॉब्लम के लिए, आगे आने वाले जो सिचुएशन है उसमें और रेजिडेंट फेस ना करें इस तरह की सेम प्रॉब्लम, क्योंकि वो तो
यही
फेस
बात-
कर रहे
This is very
हैं, वो
important.
फेस कर रहे हैं आज की डेट में कि बिल्डर को जो हम पैसा दे रहे हैं गवर्नमेंट ड्यूज के अगेंस्ट, पानी का, बिजली का, बिल्डर पे कर रहा होगा, और ऑल ऑफ ए सडन जब गवर्नमेंट कहती है कि हमारे को ये पैसा नहीं मिला, तो ऐसी सिचुएशन में रेजिडेंट को क्या करना चाहिए?
इसके लिए सर अगर आप रजिस्ट्रार ऑफिस ऑफ रजिस्ट्रार के पास जाएंगे, क्योंकि आप रजिस्ट्रार ऑफिस में हैं, तो रजिस्ट्रार भी जो आपका डेवलपर है, दे कैन कैच हिम आल्सो दैट दिस इज द RWA मनी, यू ट्रांसफर दिस मनी टू देम। एंड जब RWA का फॉर्मेशन होता है तो उसमें भी डेवलपर का एक रोल होता है।
बिल्कुल।
और डेवलपर ये बोलता है कि जो हमने पैसा कलेक्ट किया है वो इसको ट्रांसफर कर रहे हैं। अगर वो ट्रांसफर नहीं करते हैं तो रजिस्टर्ड सोसाइटी उनके खिलाफ केस फाइल कर देती
सर
है।
हमने केस भी कर लिया, सारे हम करते हैं कोशिश, बट उनके पास तो पैसा ही नहीं है, गवर्नमेंट कहती है
They
इनके
have
पास तो
already
पैसा ही नहीं है।
become a
They are already
defaulting
defaulted.
organization.
In that case, you can't help it. No, you can't do anything.
But you can ask the authorities not to charge you the
My
previous
point
dues
is that
and-
GMDA has to take call, like for other societies also should not be happen. So they have to ensure what measures can be taken in advance for other societies. Today is South City, later on it can be Sushant Lok or
Yes.
others.
And actually the issue we are raising is not whether it's South City or Sushant Lok or anyone. If you buy a house from a society, from a developer, and the developer in the beginning gives you the services, how does the resident know that the money that is being collected from the resident on behalf of services is actually being deposited with the authorities? One. And the second issue that we're raising is that if after say 15 years or 20 years, suddenly the authority says that I haven't received it, what measures did the authority take to recover that over this period of time? Who is liable, the authority or the residents?
Authority.
And this is what you have to
Authority is
challenge as a group.
Because the moment a developer declares anything to its buyer, they file the same thing with the authority also.
Yeah.
They file along with the name of the buyers also, that oh, these are the buyers and I have collected this much money from them, and that entire filing goes with the authority. Now if authority doesn't take money from the developer, that means they are working in cahoot.
Yeah, there is a deed of declaration or Annexure D that for taking the completion, every promoter or builder has to submit the deed of declaration, in which whatever the promise given to the buyer for what they have taken the money, so they have to mention the service. The authority has to ensure whether this service of the paper or actual.
And the money
Survive.
collected has been submitted, already given to the authority.
Taking all those fees from even buyer, so check all those things. So it's a primary responsibility of authority to ensure all these things on ground reality. and then to provide completion certificate.
And now they are coming back to the buyer that now you pay the dues of the
Definitely it's a unique.
developer, which they should have collected from them 5 years back.
Yeah.
I mean,
प्रभाकर जी, क्या ये गवर्नमेंट की लायबिलिटी मतलब जिम्मेदारी नहीं है इसके अंदर कि अगर उनको डेवलपर पे नहीं कर रहा है पिछले 20 साल से, तो वो रेजिडेंट को बोल दे कि जी आप उसको मत दो क्योंकि उसकी पोजीशन ऐसी
नहीं,
है
तभी पानी काटना चाहिए था।
तभी पानी काटना
In
चाहिए,
your
पहले
case,
एडवांस में
what I-
बताना चाहिए कि हमको
in
पैसा
your
मत
case,
दो।
what I observed
इसमें
कि
तो
recently
इसमें
GMDA
आराम से
formed 1 year
खोल-
back.
And in Haryana, there is this unique situation, especially Gurgaon. I am not aware of all other towns, but the fact is that there was no municipal corporation, there was no development authority except a state level development authority, the Haryana Urban Development Authority, which meant that whatever money was paid by the residents went into the state kitty, not into the city kitty. So whether the city was those services were provided in the city was never challenged, except when these problems have come, developers have gone defunct, and today the consumers are battling. Let's go to some of the questions that have come. There's Nitin Singh of Delhi who says, what is the procedure of selecting an RWA in Noida and Greater Noida? How can buyers take part in it and ensure it is a transparent process? This is a big issue, and I would like Prabhakar,
Yeah.
you want to address it?
It should be registered authority, basically. Now there is what happens that developers themselves also create a fake RWA, so that both these two RWA compete against each other and the buyers get confused completely.
Yeah.
So in that situation, I believe that the buyer should go with the registered RWA and registered with the registrar of society. Now, basically then they get divided and all the problem is there. But the issue is this: in that situation, they could have gone to the registrar, asked the registrar to hold it, election in the election of the society, and if the project member is not good enough to run the society, replace him. Use your voting power rather than creating another society and do a conflicting job.
And this is an important issue because what the issue that we raised is the RWA is almost functioning like a de facto developer. The functions that were there with the developer of providing essential services, of maintaining the roads, of providing security, of actually making sure that there is safety and security within the
Huge
township.
corruption is there. Now
Yes.
the problem is this: that registrar of society, there is a huge corruption. Now today I know many societies where developers have already sold flats to 30, 40 their own people. And now they
Especially in case of Amrapali, you
they
will
have
get it.
created their own society, and now society has become a profit center because they are collecting huge sum of money,
Yes.
and they are hardly spending any money in the maintenance of that entire society.
Now, Prabhakar, is it mandatory for everybody to be a member of the association?
Yes, it's mandatory, and the UP Apartment Act is a promoter liability to
Even in Delhi,
To-
even in Delhi society, like the Dwarka.
Across India?
to form a
Same thing.
RWA. And you
If
can-
the developer sells a housing unit in any township,
Any township.
the developer has to make sure that all members become part of a residents welfare association.
Yeah.
When does it hand over to the RWA legally?
As soon as the completion certificate.
50% of the people
Yeah,
get.
then no, it should be formed. As soon as the 50% of the apartment is sold, the RWA should be formed. And when the completion certificate is received, it should be transferred to RWA.
But
Along with
Prabhakar,
all the money
within a
collected.
1 year,
of the
1 year of completion
certificate, they should transfer it to them.
So the issue in the past was that completion certificates were never given. We've got DLF, Unitech, South City, Nirvana, all the organization, all townships within Gurgaon, which never got their completion certificates, even though they are over 25 years old. So that's the first point where actually what we feel is that the residents today are, and the RWs today are contending with the follies of the past. The problem is that these were municipal management is a very serious issue, and all of us need to be aware of it. While the municipal authorities have not really been very stringent about it, today the consumers are not in any mood to accept liabilities that come from past problems. And that is where the biggest issues are coming. And that's why completion, maintenance, running the association becomes a big issue.
You have to understand why we are taking nowadays apartment culture coming. Just because to ensure all the things in a specified manner, well mannered manner. So if I buy a flat land and then make a house and then so we have to take care of security, cleanliness and everything. But why we prefer apartment? Just because we are paying maintenance to all these things in smooth way.
It's
So
centrally managed.
It's centrally managed.
Yeah.
So for that, nowadays purchasing is too easy. But after investing money, you will get the flat or not. If you get the flat on time or
Is
delay
it of
time,
the required quality?
required quality, then it again coming to the challenge for those buyer who all invested his lifetime money saving in that flat for how is maintaining or not. So authority has to take all those things in proper way to ensure or empowered either authority or RWA or to restrict the builders in such a way to maintain the things for which we are paying.
Sure.
Basically, what happened, I mean, for quite some time, that RWA themselves were not very efficient.
Yeah.
Now there are societies in Delhi, Noida also. What will you find that when developer maintains a society, I mean, it's not the rule, but there are many cases where the developer maintains a society in a much better way than it is maintained by the RWA.
We saw this happening in the
I
Best
agree,
Tech
I echo
Association.
that. And,
In so many cases it has
Yeah,
happened.
yeah.
So then what happens that the claims of the RWA get weakened.
Yeah.
Okay, when RWA come forward and say its residents that okay, now let us replace this developer and create our own body and let us maintain it our own, then what happened that and it is transferred in many cases I have seen
Yeah.
that that thing was transferred to RWA and RWA could not manage it at all.
In fact, in one of the DLF projects, lift
In Noida
collapsed
also.
because
Let's say, I will say there is two kind of problem in that.
And then the resident came to me that, sir, now what should we do? We want to go back to the developer
Yeah.
because this RWA is not managing at all.
Yeah.
So now this is also situation now. But in entire this thing, the role of the registrar is always wanting.
So,
They-
Prabhakar,
they-
answer the question that our consumer raised. How can buyers take part and ensure that it is a transparent process of the RWA? What are the few tips? Each of you.
When the election is happening, he has to participate. I'm in a society where I'm secretary for 2 years and the third 3 years. So I can say that the big turnout voting is not more than 50%. 700, 800 people are members, but turning out is very. So in
Yeah,
that
20,
case, how
30%
can
people
how can you ensure that the people coming will be good
Yeah.
if you are not utilizing your voting power?
Yeah.
So good. Second thing, sir, I agree with you that the builder when the time builder maintaining the society is quite good, and when it comes to the RWA, initially it's also try to by RWA members. First thing, RWA members is a full-time in job somewhere, they are giving their time, they are also dependent. But secondly, people also taking granted to RWA member. When builder restricts, builder formed a policy or something, a rules, and even levying any disciplinary actions and by money, 500, 200 something. People are happily and forced to pay because they are builder. But once it's come to the time of RWA, they're saying, I have voted for you these things.
Yeah.
Who are you?
So,
So this is
Are we-
ethical challenge.
are we now saying that the RWA needs to be empowered some more?
They have enough power.
They have enough power.
Enough power.
What you need to do is, as each unit member of the RWA,
So what
you
about
need
the
to
common-
exercise your
They
voting
have-
power.
They have good power.
They have very good
power. But the second point of time, they also have to number of
I mean,
things.
I have a lot of questions.
Yeah,
Our
yes,
consumers are now asking in the queries. Vijay Mohan of Pune says, what is the role of RWAs in case the builder has provided poor quality flats to buyers? If it is within 5 years, you can go to RERA and invoke the zero defect
If it's
liability.
not RERA, then it's post handover is 2 years period as per UP, but you have to follow the other authority,
Yeah.
other state building bylaw, or other in case of state bylaws not that, then NBC you have to go, Building Bylaws Act 2010, so you have to mention.
You can go with the NBC, the National Building Code 2010, and if it does not conform to the National Building Code, you can actually raise this issue. If your project is not more than 5 years old, you can go to your respective RERA authority, because the RERA says that within 5 years, for the first 5 years, it is up to the developer to ensure that there is zero defect in the
if it's coming in RERA.
if it is coming in RERA, and even if it is not coming in RERA, first 5 years,
The project
Of the
already
completion.
handed over, then it's still after the handed over to the project to the, if it's maintaining by builder, then he can sue any time. But it's handed over to the association, then post handover 2 years period given for the
2 years period is given.
But RERA gives 5 years of the
Yeah.
completion of
Yeah.
the completion
Yeah.
certificate. That is.
Whether they have a RERA number or not.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
There is Sheetal Kumar of Noida who says, what role does the RWA play when a complaint is filed in the RERA by a resident who is facing an issue due to the builder? Can RWA represent that resident in RERA?
Yeah, you can.
complainant has to go individually as well. RWA can accompany. And
Yeah.
RWA
In RERA, every complaint has to be filed individually. You can't file as a group of people. But if all of you file your complaints individually, the RERA authority picks up all the complaints of the individual project, and they take it almost like a class action where they
normally
rule together.
we have seen that.
Yeah, and since people like Sanjay are in the conciliation forums, they also are able to direct the forum in the right direction. One is the residents associations as well as the builder associations have also started participating in conciliation forums.
And in every conciliation meeting, builders, respective builders call and conciliation committee members and the buyers and the RERA authority.
Right. So both the buyer bodies as well as the developer bodies are part of the conciliation forum, and the individual builder is also invited in. RERA will sort the problems for the future, but right now you have a lot of problems, and those are the ones that are being raised right now. There is Akash Sharma of Gurugram who says, can a buyer go to NCLT and claim the compensation in case the construction quality is poor or there is damage in the flat which the builder refuses to repair?
No.
Should I file myself or take the help of the RWA? And RWA can facilitate multiple users. But you're choosing the wrong forum. NCLT is not the forum. RERA is the forum which has the authority to make sure that if there's any deficiencies in service or construction quality, they are the ones who are involved.
NCLT is only for creditors.
NCLT is to recover the money that is
Yeah.
The project is
left.
stalled or not completing.
It is delayed, then not.
There is everything is delayed, Prabhakar. Right now, everything is delayed.
If a project is delivered, suppose, and you have taken the position, even if it is delayed, now you can't go to NCLT.
Now you can't go. Suresh, that is after the completion and occupancy has come.
Yeah.
Suresh Mathur of Mumbai says, in Noida and Greater Noida, there are many people come in the AOA owing to political ambitions and then take over the real estate projects and start doing corruption. How do residents tackle such people? This is the issue that you were raising. That actually the thing is that there is, Prabhakar, can more than one association be registered in a...
No.
So there is one registered association, right?
Only one.
So Sanjay, how can a resident go to the registrar of societies and find out which is the
You can
registered
simply
society?
file a simple RTI. You can get the information which is the correct. You can get it a copy of same. So it's very simple. It's not and you can understand what is correct, what is wrong. So
If you're not in the city, for
and
instance,
rather saying political ambitions, I don't think anything bad if people coming and serving you and going in political ambition. Everybody goes there for serving you. It doesn't matter what they do, right? It's us who voted them and put in the chair.
But when you become member of an RWA, please make sure that you're part of the registered RWA of that association, because that you can do by, as Sanjay
Either
says,
visiting your concerned authority, registrar authority, you can take the certified copy after paying 10 to 20 rupees only,
Right.
or you can send a RTI by registered post, you can get a reply in 30 days.
You can get the
So it's
list
very
of the entire member of the
simple. Member of the everything.
everything.
And do that.
Even
Become
balance sheet and all
Yeah.
things you can get it.
Yeah. Become a proactive resident, because ultimately it is your interests that are
Yeah.
at stake. There is Ekta Verma of Noida who says, can RWA take over Amrapali or JP projects and complete them by hiring a private contractor? Will the government authority or RERA allow that? I think, Ekta, you are already aware that both these projects are being handled by the courts.
No.
And
Supreme Court.
Supreme Court.
Supreme Court.
So, the good news is, and I think I wouldn't like to say that no, you can't do this. The good news is that the government of India, the Minister for Housing, as well as the Secretary Housing, has assured us on camera, and we will share the details.
Recently at Lucknow.
Yeah, recently at Lucknow, both of them have said that the intent is to complete projects to make sure that consumers get their housing what they paid for. Now, if the issue is that Amrapali, JP, and Unitech, three projects which, if completed, lakhs of residents will get their houses. Lakhs of buyers will get their houses. These are priority. I don't think you'll be able to do a better job than this, because right now the Supreme Court is going hammer and tongs to make sure that these projects go
Yeah,
through
it's
to
something in
completion.
process. You don't need to.
You'll just have to go with the
Yeah.
flow.
They are
It is
bulldozing
taking time.
everything else
Yes.
just to complete the
There are a
project.
lot of things has been done.
Yes.
This is on track now.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you have to flow in that. That is
You-
a better option. you
My
have.
association couldn't have done this.
Yeah.
Yes. And the
This is
Supreme
not a
Court
small project.
and Supreme Court has taken cognizance of the fact. So the ones that are very close
Like
to
the authorities'
completion,
dues.
Yes.
Now,
How you will go
Supreme
about
Court said that, okay, authority
Yeah,
did that,
yes.
okay, take a back seat.
as a consumer association, you wouldn't have been able to get these things done. There is Firoz Khan of Greater Noida who says, where can a resident file a complaint against an RWA for auditing and other issues related to a project? This is important. Let's tell them,
Register.
Register.
go to the registrar of societies where the RWA is
And copy to
registered.
the authority as well.
Send a copy to the authority as well.
The society is supposed to file its balance sheet every year with the registrar, and you can get the copy, you can see that entire balance sheet, that how much
Why?
money they received, how much money they have spent, and which thing they have spent. Then you can check it that whether really they have spent money in that thing or not. Or if they have not, then you can go and file a complaint to the.
30th September is the date to publish, and they have to publish in their notice board as well.
Yeah.
They has to report all those things, even to registrar. And one member is already authorized to ask anything
Yeah.
for the balance sheet.
Any member.
Any member, any
Yeah.
member of the society. But condition that he should be member of the RW, because somewhere happened, people take in the flat. At that time, RW is not, the builder has not taken 1,000 rupees to the receipt of membership. And once RW form they are asking, they cannot take everything from their pocket, right?
Right.
He or she cannot be the member, so he or she cannot ask for the, unless she will be the member.
So the
That
best
should be the part of the.
But what our consumer is asking is, how do I know if there are two RWAs, for instance? How do I know which is the registered
Already we
RWA?
discussed a lot.
You file an RTI, find out which is the registered RWA, and then you go and become a
So it's
member
simple.
of that
Yeah.
before you can get the details of the RWA. There is Praful Goswami who's asked, what is the difference between an RWA and an AOA?
Basically, RWA is earlier, and after implementation of UP Apartment Act in 2010-11, right? So all RWA has been transferred to AO. So once
That is an association of apartment owners. AWA is an association of
But the naming
apartment
is
owners.
changed. Basically, Apartment Act comes to the place, so they have to comply with the Apartment Act. They have to adopt the model bylaws of the Apartment Act, so they will become the RW2AO.
This happens in Maharashtra and this happens in
But
Uttar
RWA,
Pradesh.
being for the any suppose there is a colony like Ramsar, so that will be RW. But apartments so they're multi-storied, or there may be a condominium of at least 12 flats.
Okay. And remember that whichever states have an Apartments Act, all states don't have it. The Maharashtra has it, Uttar Pradesh has it. Wherever there's an Apartment Act, this AOA it conforms to the Apartment Act. In like he said, But even in these cities, if it is not multi-story development, you have an RWA, not an AOA. Right?
Under the Society Registration Act,
Yeah.
Society Registration Cheat and Funds Firm,
Yeah.
where you can register your NGO, any trust. So same thing, so you can register your any association, resident association. So that's our
And that registrar is the authority that you will go to.
everywhere.
Right? There is Gauri Singh of Navi Mumbai who says, can a group of home buyers register themselves as RWA and take over the project where the builder is delaying it?
No, if
Yeah.
there is no existing RWA there in that, and then you can form it, but first you get it registered.
But they become a
By
buyers
association.
association,
Yeah, buyers
not an
association.
RWA.
It's a buyer
So
association.
unless the 100 hour, not 100 hour, how can they
Yeah.
form it?
Yeah, no,
And
but,
association of buyers can be
and the
created.
RERA they say that the moment 50% is
Yes,
sold,
that's-
then they have to get
That's
it
the
created.
criteria,
Yeah.
50% or 3 years.
Yeah, and then you have to get it created, and then moment it
Then-
created, you have to register it.
Buyer
Then
association
only
can
you
also be
create it.
converted into resident.
Yeah.
Once you get possession of your houses,
That
then you
will
become an
50%
RWA.
of numbers and 3 years.
But 50, and you get it registered, because
Yeah.
unless you are registered, you know, I mean.
But Sanjay, if the project is delayed, let's assume that more than 50% was sold, and the project is delayed, that in 3 years the project is not complete, then only once the handover of the flats takes place and 50% of handover has taken place, only then do you become an RWA?
Definitely, we can
Yeah.
have, we can.
Till then, to answer your question, Gauri Singh, you can form an association of buyers. But once the project is complete, and you can go to your RERA, you are part of Maharashtra RERA. MahaRERA is one of the most efficient RERA authorities. Go to the Conciliation Forum or even the RERA authority. Please go as a group, because then you have more power there. Go and talk to them and tell them that your project is delayed. They are trying various means of making sure that most projects go through to completion. And MahaRERA has a very high level of success. Please go to your RERA authority as a group. There is Amitesh Yadav of Noida who says, is the AOA capable of handling maintenance of a project without any experience whatsoever? What to do when politically motivated people take over the society and make the system worse?
Don't allow them to take it over, no?
You have a vote.
You have a vote.
You have a vote. Make voting
will
the
decide the fate of AO, right?
Yeah.
And remember that even if there is a certain group of people who are influential, who have the support of the developer and so on, what you have is the collective strength of all the residents of the association. But if you want to make sure that the RWA is not hijacked, you have to make sure that each resident comes forward and votes. Like Sanjay said, like Ram said, the voting at the time of the general body meetings is normally not more than 20%. Then what happens is,
even 10% is challenged sometimes.
then what happens
Yeah.
is that you're not able to get the right people in. So as concerned citizens, you have to make sure that more and more people start participating. The good news is that today the laws they require everybody to be registered with the Residents Welfare Association. Please influence others and make sure that this is happening.
And the experience is not required. Nowadays there are lot
Hiring
many
agencies.
maintenance companies.
Hiring
You
agencies.
hire them and they will
The
manage
AO is
it.
normally resident, they were somewhere in job and all.
Yeah.
So they cannot take the things in their.
Right. The
Because
resident
they
does
are,
not
they
have
are
a-
not a
Right.
paid servant for you. They are representative
Yeah.
of you.
They appoint one person and hire
Yeah.
an agency and they will do everything. for
Normally
you.
we all doing in our
Yeah.
societies.
Nitin Rajput says, how can we ensure that RWA elections don't go to court?
Don't go to court. How will you
So
ensure
better to,
what is
you have to ensure your election should be in a proper
smooth
way.
manner, yeah.
Smooth
Now
manner.
Normally
you have
It should be
You
transparent.
have over 2,200 members, right? The 2,200 residents in the South
Number
City.
is approximately 700.
Now,
See,
the issue is, how do you make
Yeah.
everybody become a member of the association? Right?
Yeah.
The second thing is, Ram, do you face this problem, and how do you identify influencers who can bring more people into the RWA?
मैम, पहले तो एक बहुत जरूरी है कि आप जो भी रेजिडेंट है उनके प्रति आपको भरोसा होना चाहिए, रेजिडेंट को एक फेथ होना चाहिए कि जो बंदा आ रहा है हमारे पास, जो चुन करके आ रहा है, जिस पर वो हमारे फेवर में बात करेगा, हमारे बारे में सोचेगा। उसके बाद देखिए पहले हमारे पास कम मेंबर थे, अभी पिछले कुछ दिनों में काफी मेंबर्स हमारे ऐड हुए हैं इसके अंदर। और सेकेंडली अभी रिसेंटली हमारा जो इलेक्शन हुआ था उसमें काफी मेंबर्स ने कहा ठीक है जी, इवन पिछले 20 साल में पहली बार हमारे यहाँ पर लगभग सारे लोगों ने एक ही ग्रुप को सपोर्ट किया कि भाई ठीक है जी आप आओ और आप संभालो इसको। तो एक फेथ जब तक जनरेट नहीं करेंगे आप, तब तक रेजिडेंट आपके मेंबर भी नहीं बनेंगे और रेजिडेंट आपको कोऑपरेट भी नहीं करेंगे।
रूल कुछ भी हो, रेजिडेंट तभी अपना पैसा डालता है एक आरडब्ल्यू जाने के लिए।
मैं एक एग्जांपल दूंगा, आज हमारी जो पानी की प्रॉब्लम है सर, आज जो हमारी पानी की प्रॉब्लम है, इंस्पाइट ऑफ कि लोगों ने बिल दे रखे हैं, उसके बाद भी वो कह रहे हैं ठीक है जी हम पैसा देने के लिए तैयार।
नहीं, लेकिन
क्योंकि उनको एक भरोसा है कि जिस बंदे के हाथ में हमारा ये पैसा जा रहा है वो सेफ है।
जैसे एक चीज मैं पूछना चाह रहा था कि जैसे बायर भी दो तरह के भी होते हैं, एक होते हैं जो कि
हाँ जी,
नहीं नॉट इन्वेस्टर,
जो अपनी रेपुटेशन को बहुत ज्यादा रिगार्ड करते हैं, आगे जाकर के हमारी कोई ऐसी
नहीं, जैसे कि सर एक है कि फ्री होल्ड करवा लिया प्रॉपर्टी को, फिर वो ऑनर होते हैं। एक होते हैं जो कि वो चूंकि वो लीज होल्ड होता है प्रॉपर्टी, तो वो मेंबर होते हैं लीज होल्ड का। तो जहाँ पर जैसे दिल्ली वगैरह में, चाहे नोएडा में भी जो लीज होल्ड प्रॉपर्टी है, और वहां पे वो मेंबर ऑटोमेटिक बनेंगे, क्योंकि उनके पास और कोई चॉइस नहीं होता है, क्योंकि वो उसके शेयर होल्डर होते हैं और उनको एक मेंबरशिप होता है अपार्टमेंट एक्ट के अंदर। तो एक अपार्टमेंट में जितने रेजिडेंट हैं वो सभी मेंबर ऑटोमेटिक हो जाएंगे, उनके पास चॉइस नहीं होता कि मेंबर बने या ना बने। लेकिन जहां पर फ्री होल्ड प्रॉपर्टी है, वहां पे चॉइस होता है कि हम मेंबर बने या ना बने, वो उनके पास चॉइस होता है। तो लेकिन अब सवाल है ये है कि यदि अपार्टमेंट में भी, खासकर दिल्ली में, अब क्या हो गया कि फ्री होल्ड उन्होंने अलाउ कर दिया कि साहब आप फ्री होल्ड में अपनी प्रॉपर्टी को करवा सकते हैं। इसके बावजूद भी आप शेयर होल्डर भी होते हैं सोसाइटी के अंदर, और आपको वोटिंग राइट्स उसके अंदर होता है, डिस्पाइट द फैक्ट दैट यू आर ए फ्री होल्ड मेंबर ऑफ द सोसाइटी। तो इसमें क्या कोई कंफ्लिक्ट नहीं आता है आप लोगों को, कैसा लगता है इसमें?
Sir, I have been dealing with only
newer apartments and then leasehold.
in Ghaziabad apartment. So basically we are the Federation of Ghaziabad, so everywhere is freehold property. So we are taking care of only AOAs, not RWA. We are association of AOAs. So AOAs, you say they are by default they are members, but even then they have to pay 1,000 rupees as a membership charge to become the member. That's the only. But
Now,
in my experience is not in such cases for RWA. So I have never
प्रॉकर जी, मैं एक चीज जानना चाहता हूँ कि जैसे हमारे केस में अभी साउथ सिटी वन में लोगों ने पैसा दिया और बिल्डर ने आगे पे नहीं किया, और 20 साल के बाद में उन्होंने वो कनेक्शन डिस्कनेक्ट कर दिया। क्या गवर्नमेंट की जिम्मेदारी नहीं है कि अगर उनको एक साल के अंदर, एक फाइनेंशियल ईयर की ऑडिट होती है बैलेंस शीट, उसके अंदर अगर वो पैसा ले रहा है रेजिडेंट से, वो उनको पे नहीं कर रहा है, तो उसकी पावर को फ्रीज कर दें ताकि वो रेजिडेंट से दोबारा रिकवर कर सके।
आप कोर्ट में ही तो आर्ग्यू करेंगे, कोर्ट इसीलिए
सर मैं कोर्ट में जाकर तो आर्ग्यू करूंगा, लेकिन जो गवर्नमेंट यहाँ पर बैठी हुई है उसका भी तो कोई रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है। कोर्ट तो फिर लास्ट है, last step है हमारे लिए।
That's unfortunate thing in this country.
Unfortunately, right now, solutions seem to be coming from the courts, and this
Yeah,
is the reality of the situation.
Very
I'll take
unfortunate.
two more questions. Our last two questions of the day. There's Karan Verma of Greater Noida who says, in some societies in Greater Noida, builders take advance maintenance, and after that they don't maintain the society. Very similar to the issue
same,
that
same.
Ram is raising.
Yeah.
Can a builder continue to take advance maintenance even when it is a 5-year-old society? Can they?
5 years old society, then why will you pay it? You don't pay it now, because normally what happens that when you are buying a society, a flat, at that time itself builder says that you will have to pay this much amount also for the maintenance, and so you have no choice but to pay it. But once you have already bought it, then you refuse to pay it in advance.
But,
You say that, okay,
and
okay,
then it
okay,
goes
But
to
just in most of the cases, builder taking 1 or 2 years, maximum somewhere you can find exceptional cases, 3 years.
Right.
But once you get in position, after then 2 or 3 years, normally builders retain the services. So I think the problem is something unique, or we might not able to understand.
So what you should do is you should, after 50% of houses have been sold, the Residents Welfare Association is created. The association then takes over the services. The payment has to be made to the association.
Yeah.
It has to be audited and made public to all of you. If the association is not making it public, please go to the Registrar of Societies. First, you have to be a member of the society to be able to
Use your
access.
rights. Use your rights.
Use your rights.
Remember,
Put
use
an-
your right.
Put an RTI, get the audited financial statements. If it is not there, you can always approach the registrar and say that there is some hanky-panky going on here. The last query of the day, Mukesh Pandey says, does an RWA come under RTI ambit?
No, as of now, no.
RWA you cannot ask. You can ask the registrar to give you the information.
And if suppose a member find that okay, this RWA is not working properly, then things can go to an extent that so registrar of society appoints its own people, that called administrator in the society, and the present president and secretary is sacked, and he goes out. So members has lot of power. If you,
also the provision 2/3 member can decide anything. So, but the problem is that when the 2/3 member will come in any general body meeting of a society, I am challenging in coming 10 years this will not possible.
and if that happens, then simply RWA will function.
Yes.
Consumers,
the whole mantra is that unless you will not utilize your rights, you cannot expect that people will work for you correctly.
When you bought a house, you never thought that you would be taking on the functions of a developer. But the number of queries, even after I said I've taken the last query, I've got 2 more queries coming in, and I will raise the queries and I will close it because we are completely out of time. There's Sukhveer Mathur of Noida who says, what is the election process of AOA or RWA? Can elections be conducted twice in a year? No, it's once a year.
Once in a year.
All elections are once a year.
And the registrar
Once
conducts
in a
it.
year, he can.
On the tender, जो भी tender decide किया हमने.
Yeah, and registrar conducts it. Registrar comes in the meeting and registrar conducts it the entire.
If it's not happening, then you have to contact, you have to write registrar as well as the administrative authority. There, and then SDM can approach or registrar can write to the SDM. This is the process.
And the last query of the morning, Priyanka Goswami of Greater Noida says, in our society there are 2 groups fighting among themselves. One group is of AOA, another is the second group. Now election has happened, but the builder company is still asking for maintenance charges. Can that happen? Once the RWA, once the services are handed over to the RWA,
then how come they charge it?
then the payments have to be managed by the RWA. The maintenance authorities have to be by the RWA. So please make sure that you understand the laws. Today, the idea of creating this show was to make you understand that there are many things that you need to understand as individuals. It's not enough to say I'm only a buyer. You are a buyer and you have a lot of powers. The power comes from becoming collective and joining hands so that you get a better quality of life. We ran a poll, can buyer bodies complete and maintain projects? 64% people have said yes, buyer bodies can complete and maintain projects. Just 36% have said no. But remember that the 36% that's saying no is also because it hasn't become a very well-defined role yet. And we still, from the queries that we've got, we can see that people are facing challenges with RWAs. The challenges will only go away when you become an aware citizen and an active citizen.
Unless you are not in the part of RWA or anything in any affairs in your society, you cannot understand the gist of what they have to do, what you are being proposed for that.
Yes. And like Ram Gupta said, if when the association works well, all residents show the propensity to come and join in. Strengthen your RWA. The future is in your RWA. Thank you so much for watching the Property Show. I'm Jayashree Kurup and this is Prabhakar Sena.